Hello, and welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals post-game show here at the BET MGM Sportsbook at the Great Lawn at State Farm Stadium. The PHNX Cardinals podcast. I'm Johnny Venerable, Bo Brock, the playmaker, Brittan Golden. Fellas, despite 3 INTs and a shutout in the second half by Jonathan Gannon's defense, Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing and company can't produce enough points. Cardinals fall to 2-9 on the year.
Is the late, great Denny Green that says we let him off the hook. We let him off the hook. The defense did their job. They dug deep, especially with their backs against the wall, deep in their own territory, and they produced not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions from a guy that seemed immune to turning over the football, especially multiple times a game. CJ Stroud hadn't had 3 picks in a game in his entire college and professional career, and the defense gets it done. But the offense, tempered expectations. We didn't have that game 1. Maybe we need that a little bit going forward because we saw Kyler Murray struggle with this, especially in this offense today, Brittan.
No, we did. There was a few throws that I know he'd love to have back. Some underthrows on the deep balls, some behind throws across the middle. So, I mean, it happens. It's the league. It's not what you want to see out of your starting quarterback. But,
Yep.
I mean, they really shot themselves on the foot offensively today. From the players to the coaching staff on the offensive side of the ball, I think they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you could ask for from this defense that was already undermanned with Kazir White leaving the game early. Like Ifotu leaves the game. Antonio Hamilton, who's carted off, prayers to him as he gets what we thought was a game-changing interception. They had 2 end zone INTs. They shut them out in the second half, and they couldn't muster up more than 16 points against the Texans defense that has done that to damn near everybody this year. So I put 100% of the blame on Drew Petzing. Like, Drew Petzing's game plan was horseshit today. It wasn't good enough. Hollywood Brown either was kind of lost in translation or wasn't prioritized enough early on. Way too many negative plays. To me, it's like this defense with, I would argue, far less talent. Most of the talent right now on this team, fair or not, is on the offensive side, even with no Michael Wilson. It's disappointing. You've had opportunity after opportunity. You're in the red zone. You're going for it. I think it's a combination of Petzing was bad, Kyler Murray, significant rust today. We hope his shoulder's not a factor, Bo and Brittan, but really disappointing because I think anybody would have been running to BET MGM into Vegas and putting down their life savings if you told them we're going to go and hold them to 21 points. Cardinals win this game 10 out of 10 times.
No, I agree. They defense played phenomenally outside of a few possessions early in the game where they just got ground and pounded all the way down the field. I think the defense definitely stepped up in the second half. Everybody did their job. They made plays. They created turnovers. They just couldn't score on offense. And that's going to kill you. Yeah. I mean, you're seeing it right now in that Pittsburgh-Cleveland game. I mean, Cleveland's defense has done everything. It's exactly what we saw here today.
Yeah.
Cardinals defense came out and played like they were supposed to in the second half, and the offense just couldn't get it done.
No, they couldn't. And, I don't know if Kyler Murray, when he kind of lowered his shoulder on a play that ended up, I believe, being Kyler Murray running in for a touchdown later in the drive, but is his shoulder 100%? Because we saw some very uncharacteristic Kyler Murray throws. The one on 3rd down to Trey McBride, or was it 4th down to Trey McBride?
4th down.
Where he just kind of found an open spot in the defense, and he had just kind of open grass in front of him. And Kyler threw, a duck that we saw from a couple over 40 gentlemen on the Great Lawn before we started this game today, just kind of tossing around the pigskin. He doesn't look like that. Like, when I see Kyler Murray throw the football, it's some of the most talented arm talent you can see, and it wasn't on display for the bulk of the second half today. So you got to hope that that's something he can just kind of shrug off, and that's not the case. It was just a couple bad throws, but it was bad timing. It was an opportunity for the Arizona Cardinals to win back-to-back games for the first time since 2021, and it's a squandered opportunity. So now it's back to the drawing board for Jonathan Gannon and crew. You look at a couple, interesting decisions, right? I mean, when we talk about this team going for it on 4th down deep in Texans territory, I don't have a problem with it. Because when I look at the flow of the game when it happened, there wasn't signs. You can have confidence in your defense, but then there's also being realistic. There wasn't true signs of this defense consistently getting itself off the field. So I had no problem, and fourth and manageable, going for those to extend drives.
Yeah, it didn't bother me either, Britton. Like, they just needed to execute better. Like, there were plays to be made that they didn't make. And Houston's the way that the game started and how efficient you were offensively, it lends itself to believe the Cardinals left a lot of meat on the bone yet again offensively.
No, and agreed. The fourth down calls, you can be mad about them if you want to, but they were deep territory. They were under 5 yards. Everybody talks about analytics now, and the analytics always are telling you, as they tell you on TV, that fourth and less than 5 in enemy territory, why not? The statistics say you should go for it. So I'm not mad at it. Do you get a free 3 points out of it? Yes, you do. But, the Dortch one on fourth down that was failed, he had to come back to the football. That's exactly what you want. If he doesn't, it's probably an incomplete pass if he doesn't come back. And it's fourth. So, it's just unfortunate circumstances. You didn't pick him up like you wanted to, but that's part of the game.
Really frustrating. Let's get to some of these super chats as we're live here at BET MGM every single away game at the Great Lawn. Brandon, $1.99, gentlemen. Game proves pre-snap penalties were not a Cliff issue. I think, listen, they weren't super relevant with Joshua Dobbs and company. I'm going to put a lot of that on Kyler Murray being back for 2 games. I think they get that cleaned up. I'm not going to make excuses for Kyler Murray. Like, could he have been better today? Absolutely. And I hate that the end result's going to give credence to people saying, get him out of here, get a different quarterback. And we're going to talk about that. But I think, like, there were opportunities for them to take advantage, and then there were opportunities where Kyler Murray and company looked rusty. And that's okay.
This team was penalized, 11, 12 times last week? It was penalized 5 times today. Yeah. If we're going to sit here and say, hey, they shot themselves in the foot, I guess you could say that, but relatively, relative to the NFL, 5 penalties, not too bad. Game. Yeah, it's a decent game. Were they in crucial situations? Yeah, there certainly was a couple in some key situations. But, to Johnny's point, I don't think anybody's out in wanting to make excuses for the franchise quarterback when, there were opportunities to win this football game, and you need your quarterback to step up, and they didn't get it today. Obviously, it helps that there isn't expectations for this team. Like, realistically, were they going to rip off 8 in a row and put themselves right back in the playoff picture? No. But, even with Joshua Dobbs in at quarterback, when you see opportunities to win the football game, you feel let down. You feel frustrated, as you should. It feels good to be alive. It makes you feel alive, right, as a fan, right, that your team's that close. But it's you see maybe where they need to really get better on the fly quickly here, especially on the offensive side of the football.
To me, Britton, it really felt like the intermediate passing game, the passing game at all, frankly, outside of some early throws to Rondale Moore and Trey McBride, it was non-existent. Like, there's no rhythm in the passing game. Again, not to make excuses, that just feels like Kyler Murray not having played football in a year. In conjunction with Michael Wilson's your second best receiver behind Hollywood Brown, not available today. Hollywood Brown, I think, underperforms again. So there's a bunch of predetermined factors, and then you can look and say, okay, that's why they didn't perform. But then my frustration is, well, then you need to alter your game plan a little bit. Like, we mentioned this on the halftime show, way too much under the gun, like not enough under center. You could have dominated the line of scrimmage if you chose to. Like, there were opportunities for James Conner to run north and south. I did not like the game plan. And to me, like, Drew Petzing now, this week, this is a big knock against Drew Petzing, in my opinion.
And he's going to have to take some of that flack in the media and from everybody else, too, because a lot of the play calls were not great. But at the end of the day, Kyler has to play better, and you can blame it on he hasn't been here or not. But he's the franchise quarterback. He's your quarterback. He's an NFL quarterback. You need him to step up in these big moments. He threw a couple terrible passes today. And, yeah, there's a rust. You got to expect there to be a rust factor. Yes, this is game 2 back. He hasn't played in 300-plus days, whatever you want to say it. And so it's to that point where he's got to shake that off. Like, next week has got to be a completely different Kyler. We got to see it back on top. He's got to make these throws that he missed this week and get back to where he was at.
Yeah, more super chats here if we could. Producer Jacob looking at my guy Jeff Underhill, $4.99. Thank you so much, Jeff. Again, can play a complete game all across 3 phases. Yeah, that's a byproduct, Bo, of this team rebuilding. Like, 1 week it's the offense that looks good, the penalties, the defense maybe falters. Today I thought we'll get into the officiating. Like, we're not helped by the officials. Gifted multiple possessions for the Houston Texans, but I mean, the Cardinals are far from a complete team, so thus they have to play perfect in some aspects.
Yeah, I mean, and you're asking for perfection, and you're asking, like, that's why I think that there's a huge amount of frustration within the fan base in the chat. Like, they saw Kyler Murray do superhuman things in his debut, and then they saw a little bit of it today as well. His ability to rush in for the touchdown, that was an unbelievable play once again from Kyler Murray. But then you just never saw really this offense operate cleanly, consistently for, and get into rhythm throughout this game. And I think that's why people are like, damn it, this was right there. And CJ Stroud uncharacteristically didn't take care of the football 3 times and put you in a good position to be successful, and they couldn't cash in. And I think that's where everybody's sitting here like, who's to blame for this? Because people are looking for, Drew Petzing to when he's gifted that opportunity to cash in, and they didn't do that. Still didn't see enough James Conner, in my opinion, in the second half. Still finished the game with just 14 carries for 62 yards. Kyler helped supplement the rush game with 51 of his own, but there just wasn't any true rhythm to this play calling. Sure, they were moving down the field at times, but it was just very herky-jerky.
And I put some of that, like, listen, the kind of offense that Drew Petzing wants to run that maybe they ran earlier this year, it's not what they're running right now. They were under center most of while Joshua Dobbs was here, and his time dating back to Cleveland, they had big physical wide receivers. Like, outside of Trey McBride, like, that's not what you have here right now. It's Rondale Moore, Greg Dortch, Hollywood Brown. Now, Greg Dortch, in my opinion, was underutilized today, but at the same time, it's like they want to trot out a bunch of 6'2", 6'3" guys, and that's not the personnel. So it's like, play to your personnel. Run the football. Disappointing. I'm not disappointed, though, in these super chats. Gangster Trent, $5. On the bright side, this D made CJ look human for the first time this season, Brittan. And again, it gives you confidence that Jonathan Gannon can go into a locker room and scheme up a way to keep his team in it despite some personnel issues.
Agreed. And you can see it on the back end, right? You've got Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson back there. They were both flying around the field. They caused situations that can cause turnovers. Front seven, we didn't get the pressure we needed. But in the back end, yes, outside of our right corner, whatever corner he plays on, the back end played extremely well outside of that. I mean, it was having a guy like Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson back there that can change the game, both in the run game and the pass game, does what it does. And it showed today. They kept CJ Stroud in check. Yes, he still threw for 300+, but the 3 interceptions is something that we haven't seen all season. It forced him to make throws that he didn't really want to make. He was throwing into tight windows that he doesn't really go into, but it's to the point, right? You got to give credit where credit is due. And Budda Baker and Jalen Thompson have definitely stepped up in that aspect.
Really disappointing because you think about, the people who stepped up today are not the people you would assume, like a Chris Barnes and Antonio Hamilton. Now, how about this guy? Our player of the game today, it's Jalen Thompson, not the other safety, but people think Budda Baker. Jalen Thompson's a badass. 1 interception, 1 sack, 9 total tackles. Clearly the best player on the field, either side of the football, Bo Brock. It's unfortunate that number 34 couldn't will this team to victory alone.
He certainly tried to. I mean, in those 2 big plays, that 1 pick and that 1 sack were all huge. I mean, the one where he just came free like a torpedo through the offensive line and took down CJ Stroud, knocked him out of the game for a second. I mean, CJ Stroud was dealing at that point to knock the wind out of him.
Wasn't the same since then.
Yeah, he wasn't the same since then. Absolutely great point. And then the pick in the red zone. I mean, he was a thorn in the side and then some to CJ Stroud, who seemed like he was impenetrable the entire season. JT, a tip of the cap, really rock solid game. 9 total tackles, 8 of those solo tackles. So the guy was just flying around the field and stepped up big when they absolutely needed. So love that from Jalen Thompson. I mean, when you look at CJ Stroud's numbers here in the first half, I mean, he finishes at 18 for 24. His final line, he was 27 for 37. I mean, He was just a completely different quarterback back there, and that was mainly due to Jalen Thompson. And as you mentioned, I really liked kind of the kind of lesser-known defenders stepping up in this game in the absence of Kizir White, Chris Barnes, as you said, and Josh Woods in there, picking up some of the slack as far as getting some ball carriers down on the ground. And then that defensive line without Lecky Fotu, I mean, you had guys like Victor Dumakaji play off the edge and get a some big stops, the TFL there, and it was a good collective effort. You have to really kind of say nice job by Nick Rawls in the second half, making the adjustments at halftime.
Yeah, let's get back to these super chats if we could. We've got Dirtbike Boy 714, friend of the program, $4.99. Refs and that under K1 had some bad throws. You unmasked Drew, and it's Cliff Kingsbury with no under center. Bye Hollywood. Hello Marvin Harrison Jr. I mean, a lot to take in there, Britton. But I would agree with a lot of that. I think Drew Petzing didn't help himself today. Hollywood Brown didn't. Kyler Murray can play better. But again, it goes back to what is this team's philosophy with K1 at quarterback? Because again, I like the idea of the Cardinals once upon a time tweaking a top 10 run game for Kyler Murray to plug into. This did look too much like Cliff Kingsbury today. Horizontal throws, negative plays, everything from the gun. It looked finesse. At times it looked soft to me. That's not where we want to be.
No, and it's completely different than what we saw from the offensive game plan last week.
Yeah.
Yes, the ball was out quick. There was a lot of intermediate routes. They were on target. We made them. We found a rhythm. I feel like we talked about it earlier. There was no rhythm found in the offense today. Outside of that first drive, we had a rhythm. You went down the field. You drove the field. You get a big over-the-top, deep touchdown pass.
Yep.
Outside of that, it's like gimmick play, the dumb play.
Mm-hmm.
Then we try to hand the ball off on the second long, or it's third and something, and we got away from James Conner.
Yeah.
When it was working.
Yep.
I mean, he was breaking every
7
tackle.
yards a carry in the first half.
Yeah.
And I said it on the halftime show. James Conner should have 15 to 20 touches in the second half. I don't think he got that. And if they were, it was a mixture of passes and runs. But I feel like he should have had the ball in his hands and been able to run because we were making yards. That puts your offense in a rhythm. When you're getting positive plays on first down and you're setting up second medium, third and short, it's easier to convert those than it is to convert second and 15 and third and 12. It's an impossible task you're asking of an offense.
Yeah, you guys are crushing it. It's not an impossible task. Leave a like on this video, Bo Brock, and I'm already seeing it in the chat, so I'm ready to pivot here. Folks are frustrated with Kyler Murray. I get that. We're going to talk about draft standings here in a little bit, but for me, it's like, how much blame do you put on Kyler Murray today for the way that the offense performed, or I guess lack thereof?
I put a heavy amount of it. I'd say 50%, right?
Yeah.
And then you start to look at Petzing and the play calling, and obviously the other variables that play into the offensive side of the football. But it's not like I'm going to crush him because it's his second game back.
Mm-hmm.
It really, and he's got one game film out there, and a tip of the cap to the Houston Texans for making the right adjustments and making times tough for Kyler Murray. The things that were concerning are things that he's usually pretty well set up for success with in making some of those throws. Go back to the Trey McBride throw. I don't know where that came from. I don't know how that ball came out so poorly. You just don't see that often from Kyler Murray.
Do we want to spec?
No, I don't think
here?
we should. We'll just kind of see what comes out of the post game, and hopefully they do their due diligence and ask the right questions there. Is his shoulder fine? But it's like I don't know if anybody expected him to be perfect the entire way throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah.
So it was just a little disheartening because there was so much momentum going in this game, and like I said, you were put in such a situation to where you could really take advantage of this if you wanted to, and you just didn't get it. You didn't get it, but the quarterback battle that we were expecting to see, we did not get.
No.
We didn't get it from either side of it.
Neither team eclipsed 22 points.
And, CJ Stroud, I think, was benefited from, people stepping up. And the emphasis, the onus shouldn't just be all on Kyler Murray to go out there and win this football game outright. The defense did very well, but he didn't get, especially on his side of the football, a whole hell of a lot of help.
Yeah, let's get to some of these numbers. Greg Dortch, anybody have this on their bingo card, leads the game in receiving yards, 6 for 76 today. Rondell Moore, 1 for 41. That catch was it. After that bomb, Hollywood Brown, 2 for 18, just 9 yards per completion. Disappointing day for Hollywood Brown. We put it on our pregame show. He was my player of the game on Friday prediction. Hollywood Brown, for whatever reason, was a non-factor again today. So that's 2 games for Kyler Murray. 0 impact from Hollywood Brown, number 2. And I love Hollywood Brown. I thought he was really good to begin this year. But for whatever reason, he has disappeared. And the Cardinals are going to have to make a decision, Britton, on the future of their, quote, number 1 receiver, because he's scheduled to hit free agency in the spring. And again, because the playoffs you would assume are out of reach for this team, like this is an evaluation period. And when the Cardinals look back on this film, whether or not he's open, I couldn't tell you. I have to watch the all 22. Like he didn't help them win today, I think is the most blunt thing I could say is like, where's the impact? From like those numbers from Greg Dortch, that's what you expect from Hollywood Brown.
Agreed. And that's what you want from a guy that wants to be a number one guy. And like you said, he was non-existent. He's been non-existent the past couple weeks. And I can't tell you if it's a play calling issue, if it's just he's not getting open, right? I mean, we're watching the game, but we're not sitting here just focused on one person playing. So, you're going to have to go back, and they got it. They watch all the tape. They're going to see if he's not getting open, if he's not doing this. But he's got to do something. He's got, 6 games left after this?
Yeah.
He's got to – I mean, it's not enough time, but you've got to do something where you show flashes. If you want to be labeled as a number one, I think I said this earlier, you've got to make these plays. You've got to get open, and you've got to be a number one receiver against top defensive backs.
Right.
You've got to be able to do it against double coverage. It doesn't matter what's going on. If you can't do that there, we can't label you as a number one, and I'm definitely not going to give you $15+ million a year.
He's really, really missing out on a good chance to cash in. I mean, he's got to be undeniable. You got to put yourself in an undeniable spot to where this organization, when it's staring down a rebuild at the stage they're going to be in the 2024 offseason, they're not going to prioritize a guy that's, these aren't even wide receiver 2 numbers so far, having your QB1 back there for Hollywood Brown. And it's really unfortunate because, I mean, he's losing more money than when my wife heads to Target right now in my bank account. Like him in his week-by-week performance, you're seeing money just hemorrhage from his earning potential. It's just down. It's going. He's almost bankrupt at this point.
I know you need that Target red card. It'll help you out a little bit. There's some free advertising for you there. We're frustrated, but you guys are keeping us lively with these super chats. Alex, $4.99 play calling was underwhelming, but there were plays to be had. Agreed. Also, what happened to the Brown K1 connection, as we just alluded to? Here's what I say about Hollywood Brown, and I made this point in October. The Cardinals chose not to trade Hollywood Brown, in large part because they wanted to, rightfully so, give Kyler Murray every chance to succeed once he returned. But right now, I mean, 2 games in, you're 0 for 2. That looks like a mistake, in my opinion. Now, you can't trot out anybody, and I don't know what was being offered for Hollywood Brown, but teams called on Hollywood Brown's availability. So now it's up to he and Drew Petzing and Kyler Murray to find a way to manufacture more yards and offense. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you have faced 2 defenses that are very susceptible to the pass these last 2 weeks. There were points to be had, plays to be made with Hollywood Brown in the passing game, and they weren't there. Like, I know it seems like we're going deep on him. Well, they didn't have Michael Wilson today, and Greg Dortch has not played receiver all year, presumably, with the first-team offense. And outside of the first touchdown, Rondell Moore wasn't even, it looked like he wasn't even available. So you got to look to your number one receiver, and that's Hollywood Brown. And it basically, like those plays at the end of the game, those are low percentage plays in terms of like completing those. Like Kyler's throwing him up to a guy who's 5'9" in double coverage. The deep interception, Hollywood Brown did not help himself today, and it's frustrating because I like Hollywood Brown personally, but it's like you watch that today and they're like, yeah, they need to take a receiver in the first round. Like, and I don't want to have that conversation, but it just, to me, it's like if you want to run an offense with big physical receivers and you've inherited a smaller receiver that you want to incorporate, he's got to force the issue, as you mentioned, because he's not playing into the benefits of this offense. This is not Miami's offense when you can be a little bit smaller. Like, they want big physical receivers. You can't have that kind of performance. Let's go back to some of these super chats. If we could, Jacob Jade in the chat, $1. Thank you so much for that super chat. Another one from PR Mac, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, PR Mac. Randall, $4.99. Randolph, I'm sorry. Randolph Ram saying, can the Cardinals for $4.99 just leave Marco in the tarmac? He probably couldn't cover a Pee-wee wide receiver. Sheesh. Well, the unfortunate part about that, it's a twofold, is Antonio Hamilton looks like he's seriously injured, Britton. He was carted off number 33. Like, that tells you Marco Wilson isn't going anywhere, in my opinion.
No, and you hate to see it. Prayers up for Ham.
Yeah.
Played with him in New York, so he's a good friend, but hope nothing's serious. But, yeah, that forces your issue now. Now, as much as everybody wants Marco to be gone, he ain't going anywhere now.
No.
I mean, now you're forcing the issue. I mean, going to have to start putting Keitrell Clark back in the lineup now because you've lost it. But
you would hope.
Yeah, but you would hope. But I just don't. I don't know. You can't move on unless you just decide to cut him and go find somebody off the couch. And at this point, that just doesn't seem logical.
Yeah, you're going into week 12, and it's really going to be a pretty inexplicable run for Marco Wilson to go 17 weeks straight starting corner in this league and not producing anything that resembles starting corner results. In the Super Chat, Topic 64 saying 20 is not a CB1, and that's as simple as you can put it, right? Is he a CB2? Is he somebody that you can rely upon for cornerback depth at this point? He's vastly outpositioned. Brittan, you keep on pointing out. I mean, he loses leverage all the time. He's just not, technique-wise, he's just not where he needs to be. And that's not what we heard about Jonathan Gannon and his coaching staff. So I'm wondering what's not resonating here with Marco Wilson. And also, on the other side of it is like, how does he continue to get all the opportunities? Is it just by default because they're completely bankrupt of any, decent cornerback play on the roster?
I mean, honestly, that's what it's got to be. You must be just completely rail thin at the cornerback position that you can't get rid of it. I mean, you would have thought if they were over it inside of that, organization, you would have thought he would have been a topic on the trade block or something. Yeah. But, I mean, nothing happened. They're sticking with it.
Yeah, we got another Super Chat in regards to Marco Wilson, Milwaukee Braves, friend of the show. Big thank you. 1999 Super Chat. I pray Marco Wilson never sees another snap with this team. I don't want to go back to the ref excuse, but, I mean, it was clear today officiating was an absolute joke, regardless if the score or not. Give us a fair shake at it. I can completely agree, and I really try to shy away from, really emphasizing the refs being a big problem in each and every game. But today, it's tough to get away from it. I mean, the just brutal offsides there on the final drive. I mean, you've got somebody screen capped it for me, I think, in our member Discord, where there's just a defensive lineman just lined up over the line of scrimmage. And it's clear as day. And there's nothing. There's no whistle. There's no flag. There's nothing. It goes from 3rd and 8 to 4th and 8, or 3rd and 7 and 4th and 7, because and the officials they swallow their whistle, and then you have the ball that goes off of. It's almost clear as day. It goes off a Houston Texans special teams player, and there wasn't definitive evidence to overturn that, to put the Texans deep in their own in Cardinals territory. I don't understand this. I don't understand. They make the points when it's a Cardinals play that's being replayed by officials. Hey, we just got to get the play call correct. We got to get the play on the field, the call correct. That's what it's all about. And then they give us this bullshit jargon well, there's not definitive evidence. It's I'm watching the game. I see the punt hit a Texans defender definitively, and there's not conclusive evidence. I just don't understand that. I'm not saying there's the refs have money on the game, or that they've got a clear vendetta against the Arizona Cardinals, but the officiating has just been bad. It's been woeful.
Yeah, the Isaiah Likely play that was ruled a catch and then subsequently reversed with minimal evidence. The Houston Texans are the darlings of the NFL, and the officials made sure it stayed that way today. That's what it felt like. The Arizona Cardinals at 2 wins, it's just no. We'd like for the Houston Texans to remain viable.
Mark
That's
Anderson's saying this, but clearly they saw the Elijah Higgins ball hit the ground to the I mean, that negated a 20-yard
first down.
Yeah, first down for the Cardinals. So it's it was another bad day. Last week was bad too. Sometimes, I mean, I don't know.
It hasn't felt like the Cardinals have gotten the benefit of calls in a long time. And again, maybe that comes with their record. Maybe it comes with the fact that, a lot of people are engaged with this team right now. I do think there's something to be said with everybody slobbering all over Houston right now,
right,
and just feeding into that crowd. And it's hard enough playing CJ Stroud right now, and you got 3 picks, including 2 in the end zone, and you can't get the benefit of some of these calls. Brittan, it's an embarrassment.
Well, I mean, the punt return penalty was egregious. I mean, the non-call there, giving it to them, that is, I don't know how you missed it, because the fact of the matter is you had Sterator, whoever else was up there, is the officiating head of whatever you got to be, and he's saying it clearly went off of a Texan shoulder. Right. If you're going to do all of this shit with, hey, we've got replays in here, we're talking to New York, you mean to tell me nobody in New York saw that and could call back in and say, this is ridiculous? Right? Yes, we got an interception off of it, this and that, but you don't know what happens if you get the ball right there. Anything could happen.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm not, like, Bo wasn't making an excuse. I saw somebody say it's no excuse. We had 3 turnovers. Yeah, agreed. We're not blaming that the game was lost with the officials. But you're taking away time on the clock, and you're taking away the football in the offense's hands with opportunities by giving their offense another 3 plays to go back out there. So, I mean, it's to the point. I've said it on Twitter. I've said it on here. It's got to come to a point in this NFL officiating. If you were going to make egregiously bad calls that technically look like you have the money line, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Some of these officiating calls, these bad calls are, in my head, you've got a money line on this and you need the money to win this. Right? This is terrible. If this is going to keep happening, Roger Goodell, I hope you can hear this. This shit's got to stop. You either got to find these motherfuckers, like you're stealing money from your players out here. Find these refs, take their money. This is bullshit at the end of the day.
Yeah, they took advantage of the Cardinals. You guys need to take advantage of these sweet, sweet deals here at Bet MGM and their Bet MGM Sportsbook by chance. Not sure if you've heard of it. Of course you have. Bet 10, get $200 instantly using the Bet MGM Sportsbook app. It's fantastic for new customers. Again, $10 bet on the wager of your choice. $200 in additional winnings regardless of the outcome of your wager. You get your extra money on top of that if it cashes in. Did it cash in for you? Well, I had the Cards money line today. That busted. I did have the K1 over in rushing. That hit. And then I missed the Hollywood first touchdown. That, of course, went to our guy, Rondell Moore. I hope you had better luck than me today. Sign up with BetMGM using that sweet, sweet bonus code PHNX. Again, $10. Put $10 on any afternoon game, the late game, live betting, props, whatever you want to do. $200 instantly. Check out the show notes for full details. Now listen to my guy Shane Diefenbach talk about it in the disclaimer.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Nevada, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369 New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 Massachusetts. 21 plus to wager. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP Arizona. 1-800-BETS-OFF Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help Michigan. 1-800-981-0023 Puerto Rico in partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in D.C., New York, or Ontario.
You guys continue to kill it in the chat. Thanksgiving week is upon us. And if you're like me, you're pretty useless when you go to a Thanksgiving dinner. I really have nothing to offer. I don't create any delicious dishes. So
Nice.
This is how I step my game up. My friends over at Four Peaks.
Yeah.
I get a couple sixers of pumpkin porter. Of course, you get they've got the kilt lifter as well. They've got so many different beers that are on tap over at their Four Peaks 8th Street location that are delicious. You could get them in a growler if you wanted to, or you could just go the old steady 6-pack. You get a 12-pack, and you can bring it to your family function, your Friendsgiving, wherever it may be, and you're going to be the talk of the party because you brought the delicious suds from Four Peaks. Check out what they have going on in 8th Street. They've been there for over 25 years, and they do what they do best. That's brew beer right there on location, and they also do what they're not known for, but they should be known for. It's their delicious menu. They got the elite chicken tendies for the kids, even for the adults. The adults will love the chicken tendies. I know producer Jacob is a big chicken tendies guy himself. It's elite. That's how elite they are. Or you got the garlic cheese beer bread. You got the Italian beef beer bread that's so delicious. You got the entrees. You got the appetizers. You got the desserts. All at Four Peaks. Check it out. Tailgates down, kilts up with kilt lifters. Win or lose, we booze. We love kilt lifters. Pumpkin porter is still available right now. It would really bolster a Thanksgiving dinner with a pumpkin porter. Do it for you. Do it for your friends. Do it for your family. It's got to be 21 years or older. Check out more Four Peaks Brew at Four Peaks Brew on Twitter and Instagram, and then also check them out online for their full product line.
Yeah, pumpkin porter boostering my Thanksgiving this year.
Yeah,
these guys bolstered the Cardinals box score today. Too many B's. Counting cards today. PHNX Cardinals post-game show. James Conner, 62 yards rushing. Should have had more, a couple more yards in the passing game. Again, was effective when he got a chance to tote the rock. Probably the Cardinals' most effective offensive player today. How about Chris Barnes on the defensive side? Subbing him for the Kazir White injury with his elbow. Status still remains undetermined, but Barnes steps in seamlessly. Plays well, fills well. The defense played exceptional in the second half, and then we mentioned it. Prayers up, Antonio Hamilton, 33. I thought when Hamilton had that pick, Cardinals were winning the game. I said, you get 3 interceptions, 2 of which are in the end zone. Hamilton's diving play. I mean, like, it's really frustrating, Britton, to watch a guy like Hamilton basically sacrifice himself for that pick and the offense to go down and do nothing as a result. Like, come on, play off the emotion of this defense, which has been, I think, much better than people get it credit for. It was fantastic. Shut out CJ Stroud in the second half today, and then the offense couldn't respond.
No, it's got to be fair. And we've been saying it all year with this defense, how frustrating it's got to be a part of that defense. They've been put in really shitty situations every week this season, and they've somehow managed to keep the Cardinals within striking distance up to a certain point until it's just out of reach. But the defense has done everything for this football team this year, and the offense has, outside of last week, they produced, they helped you out. This week, it was a step back. For Kyler Murray, Drew Petzing, everybody on that offense, it was a step back this week. And you got to go to the drawing board on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever you got to do, and you got to find a way to get back that offensive momentum you had last week in Kyler's debut.
Let's get to these super chats, Bo Brock, if we could. 2-9 for the Cardinals. Jaden, $5. Thank you so much, Jaden. We just couldn't capitalize on the offense. It hurts my soul to see the defense fight like Spartans at the what does that say? Hot gates, and the offense trip over their shoes, Bo. And again, like, I think this is something that you can feel good about with Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rallis in particular. They can go into halftime. They can scheme up a better, half than they did, let's say, against Danny Dimes and company. But I thought we were going to get Murray Magic 2.0 today. I thought it was going to be 2 weeks, 2 fourth-quarter comebacks for Kyler Murray. It was set up there. Didn't happen.
We can't have nice things,
no.
I guess, right? It's just
not even during the holidays we can't have nice
not
things.
In 2023, apparently 2024, it's our year. I promise you. No, it's it is deflating. It was absolutely deflating. And, the counting cards segment, I think that there are a couple honorable mentions. Before he went out, Lecky Fotu was having probably his best game of the season, two TFLs, including a sack of the quarterback. Also, we continue to see Dante Stills. He was credited with a big sack today. So Dante Stills is at, 4.5, 5.5 sacks on the season for the sixth rounder out of West Virginia. And then on the offensive side of the football, Greg Dortch. The guy continues to capitalize on each and every opportunity that he receives. 8 targets, 6 catches for 76 yards. All of them huge for the Arizona Cardinals, including that one that looked like his punt return last week where he's just bouncing off tacklers.
Yeah.
Got to love what you saw from GD today. I'll add those to my deck as well this week.
E disputed $4.99. BG, you're agreeing with this. Should have kicked the field goal, and I'm going to go boo-hoo. I listen, hindsight's 20/20. Had we known the defense was going to play that well, you probably do kick a field goal there. But I like the decision, E&E, to go for it at the time because this defense was terrible in the first half. They couldn't stop anybody. They didn't force a punt in the first half. And what they do? All they do was force punts and turnovers in the second half. There's no way you would have known that they were going to play like that.
No, and don't get me wrong. From a fan's point, yes, you see it. You're in the red zone. You have opportunity to score points. Yes, you'd love to see it. But at the same time, I know in the back of your head, you're sitting there when it's 4th and 2 and 4th and 1 as a fan saying, why are we kicking the field goal? Go for it. We can get it, right? It's a double-edged sword, and you got to live or die by whichever one you want. So, I think the choices to go for 4th down today were fine. I wasn't against them. I alluded to it off air of saying if you kick the field goal there and you go down and kick the field goal, you have a 1-point lead, right, at this possession. But, at the same time, if you pick up that first down, where you at? It's a gigantic if game if you want to, and that's why it's a 4th down play. It's what do you want to do? You rolling the dice either way.
You're damned if you do. You're damned if you don't. And with all the analytics out there that support the idea of going for it, there's going to be people that get lost in the numbers that are going to say, "What the hell are you doing? Why don't you go for it? What are you too old school? You're taking you're just going to take the points when you're leaving points on the field." That's what people are going to point to, and I think when you're 2-8, now 2-9, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
What do you have to lose?
Go for the throat.
Yeah, you go for it, and at the time, you got what you needed from your defense to open up the half, but you didn't know if that was what was going to be in the future of your defensive play calling and, of course, execution. So I have no problem with them going for it. Matthew Mariotti, $4.99 super chat. Kyler showed rust, only his second game. Love Gannon, but field goals aren't always bad. Defense stepped up in the second half.
Very logical, thought-out response, Matthew. And again, like Kyler Murray will be better than he was today. Hopefully he feels good after today. I'm sure he'll be sore We don't have any notes on post-game presser out of Houston. Hopefully somebody is able to convey what he and the head coach said. But I'm going to tell you right now, like, Kyler Murray and Jonathan Gannon are tough sons of bitches, man. They're going to rally from this. Cardinals still haven't won a road game in over a year. Like, this is, I don't know if we're expecting better results than maybe were promised given the state of this roster. But again, like, Houston's one of the hottest teams in the NFL. And it's to be that close, Britton, and to not be able to get it over the finish line or the end zone figuratively and literally, that's the most frustrating part. Like, the way this game started, 21-10 at halftime, you would have thought, oh, man, is this going to be a runaway? And then it just felt like the game was there to be won. 2 picks in the second half, multiple stops that you kept getting them to punt the football. Kyler looked good in the third quarter. There's something about this team right now in the fourth quarter, man. They got to be able to finish games. They got to be able to put good teams away.
Oh, agreed. And, we talked about earlier, the defense gave you every opportunity in the second half. You got turnovers, you got stops, you got 3-and-outs, you got forced punts, and you just didn't capitalize on offense. And, yes, it's Kyler Murray, it's offensive coordinator. It's they both have to take all of the blame. And it's got to fall on both of them. And you're an NFL franchise quarterback. You have to know that, right? Any bad game you have, any bad throw you have is going to be under scrutiny because you are the starting quarterback and the franchise quarterback. And you were a number 1 overall pick. So you're gonna have to handle it. Kyler's been in this situation. The noise is gone. He's not worried about what people are saying outside of this. He doesn't care what we say. If he lets that get to him, it will only get worse.
Yeah.
And I think he's been in this situation. He just had to deal with an 11-month injury of trying to get back to this field. Yes, there's going to be hiccups. There's always hiccups. Patrick Mahomes has hiccups. Peyton Manning had hiccups. Tom Brady had hiccups. It's there, right? You can't get off the wagon. We're not getting rid of Kyler Murray. I see the next from Drake May. He ain't coming here. Kyler Murray is going to be your quarterback next year, whether you want it to be or not.
$2 super chat from Dan T. Already calling it. Drake May, next, AZ, QB. How did Drake in North Carolina look against Clemson this weekend?
He had almost a 200-yard rusher and loss. Can we be serious with that? Like,
We're not getting a quarterback.
Drake May and Caleb Williams are, 3-11 over the last, 14 games.
It's not good. And don't let the stats fool you in college. Everybody has great stats in college. Yeah. Every quarterback that's a NFL prospect has great stats in college.
Caleb Williams just lost to a UCLA team that literally told their fans that they're going to fire their head coach, and they went in to their stadium and beat the brains out of Caleb Williams and USC. Can we just Kyler Murray?
Caleb Williams should have lost to Arizona State.
What did Caleb Williams do?
Then he didn't talk to the media after the game.
He went home and watched Netflix with his dog.
That's what you want to hear?
Let's welcome
that crying with his mom and that? That's what you want to see after a loss?
He was texting, Scruffy, be home soon, fire up the Netflix.
I don't want that.
I'm pretty sure Kyler Murray had more touchdowns than Caleb. Did Caleb Williams have, 1 or 2 touchdowns? K1 had 2 touchdowns against an NFL team. I get it. This is going to be a big week for the people that doubt Kyler Murray, and he knows that. And Jonathan Gannon and company are ready for that. Listen, should we look at the draft order? Dare we look at the draft order as it relates to the end of the early games? Gave us a preview of what's going on with the draft order, and it's pretty, but not pretty. I mean, the Cardinals are picking second right now. Whatever the hell the Giants did, they beat the Commanders. Congratulations on that meaningless win with Danny DeVito, a quarterback. Good fucking hell. If I'm a Giants fan, I'm literally outside my mind. It was like a 14-point win. So
I heard Isaiah Simmons had a game-sealing pick 6 in that contest.
Did he really?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm happy for the kid.
He sealed the game. It was a one-score game. Washington was driving, and he picked 6.
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations on not getting your franchise quarterback as a result, potentially, Giants. So the Bears lose to the Lions. The Patriots have yet to play. I don't know if they're off this weekend or what's going on with New England. No, it's the Jets tonight, I think. Good hell. So the Cardinals pick second right now with the Chicago Bears through Carolina. Carolina's not going to win another game this year. Like, Carolina is easily the worst team. Bryce Young threw another pick 6. He can't stop throwing pick 6s. Chicago Bears, maybe are going to talk themselves not into taking Caleb Williams, but Justin Fields. They lost to Detroit today. They were up by 14. Bottom line is this. There is so much chaos and uncertainty. Like, it's cliche to say, we're just going to have to wait this out, man.
Yeah.
Like, I want certainty. I want Kyler Murray to go undefeated coming back from injury, but, like, check back in December. I mean, we're going to talk about this on every postgame show, so I'm an ass for saying that. But, like, literally, there's just too much left of the season to be written.
Yeah, and look, the 2 top prospects in this draft aren't playing great football as we outlined. And when you're sitting at 2 overall, And who's third? Yeah, the Patriots are third. I mean, they're in desperate need of an upgrade in quarterback play. Could you trade back one spot and still get a guy like Marvin Harrison Jr.? But I mean, what today truly proved was, a wide receiver in the caliber generational of Marvin Harrison Jr. It absolutely helps the cause in where they struggled today. Adding his huge frame, physicality, playmaking ability to this offense is what they desperately needed. I mean, I love what I saw from Dortz, but as far as what you needed from your top wide receiver, just didn't get it. So if you get that chance, MHJ, according to Agent 47, already on red. Let's get it going.
I'm watching the Isaiah Simmons pick six right now. It's fine. Like Sam Howell just literally threw a lollipop up. It was a swing pass to the running back, and Simmons was right there and took it and ran it back.
Just give him credit.
Congratulations, Isaiah Simmons.
Just give him credit.
After his one tackle last week. The Giants forced six takeaways against the Commanders today.
That's not going to get it
good
done.
help. So, I mean, Kyler Murray's your quarterback right now. For better or worse, people are frustrated. I mean, like Deshaun Watson coming back from, his suspension last year, not playing football for a while, didn't look good. And I think if you go back, watch Joe Burrow's first couple of games coming back from his injury. Like, it takes time for these guys to get in a rhythm. And again, like I just don't think the Cardinals are doing a lot of favors with this offense right now. Under gun for most of the game, like, get away from that. Like, we spoke to Jonathan Gannon at the Combine last year, and they were supposed to be a heavy run-dominant under-center team, and that's what we got. They're 9th in rushing.
Yeah.
I know they're 31st in passing, but, like, come on. Like, let's go back to what was working early on downs, and then Kyler Murray can fill in those deficiencies that Joshua Dobbs had from an accuracy standpoint. Really disappointed with Drew Petzing today. Got to be better.
This is going to be really, I mean, when you talk about, a wait and see game with, what direction they go in the draft. And I tend to agree with the chat, and I've maintained that I think the incumbent in Kyler Murray is going to be tough to unseat. The quarterback position going forward for the Arizona Cardinals next week, it's going to be big. It's how you respond. Drew Petzing, Kyler Murray, this offense, how do they respond next week at home against the Los Angeles Rams? I mean, I think that's just going to be so huge, and that's going to be, especially with the roster with how it is right now.
Yeah,
where you're so undermanned that you're going to have to be responding the rest of the way out, and that's going to create some resiliency, I think, from this team, and it's going to toughen them up and maybe give them a little bit more alligator skin, and that's what you want from this. This is what you can gain from that. And I'm fine with that. I mean, it sucks at the end of the day watching a team relinquish so many opportunities in forcing the turnovers from CJ Stroud and the Texans offense. But, it's an opportunity for this team next week to come home and benefit from some home cooking, sleep in their own bed, and hopefully taking advantage of a Rams team that's not playing that great of a football.
I want you guys to take advantage of our friends at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. We're going to be there next weekend for our Rams watch party. So if you're not here at State Farm Stadium watching the game, come out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. It's Arizona's biggest and best resorts and casinos. Tons of giveaways. They've got pick'ems. They've got a monthly drawing coming up December 3rd for Cardinal tickets, memorabilia. We're going to have giveaways, shirts, prizes, and more. Again, Gila River and Resorts and Casinos. We're at Wild Horse Pass next Sunday. Myself, Brittan Golden, the returning Damon Dog and company. I'm sure the GM, Saul Bookman, everybody. We're 1 for 1 with K1 at Gila River Resorts. You can be 1 for 1. Visit GilaMillionDollarShowdown.com to get in on the action today. For more information, again, Gila River and Resorts Casinos. Check out all they have to offer. You got to be 21 and older. Check them out, Gila.com.
Yeah, you and Brittan going to be out there at Gila River Resort and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass next week for the watch party for the home game. It's going to be fun. Don't miss on that. This ad writes itself right now. If you watch us on YouTube, you can see my face. There's just sun in my eyes right now. I look across, and our guy, producer Jacob, also has the sun just in his eyes.
I'm just sweating.
We are in We're in desperate need. Yes, it's nice of Johnny to just hog his Shady Rays, but I'll take accountability for I'll take responsibility for leaving my Shady Rays in my truck. I wish that my only wish is that they could just deliver immediately to us here sitting at BET MGM Sportsbook and give me my Shady Rays when I go online, shadyrays.com, and purchase 2 or more pairs for 50% off. using the promo code PHNX. It's premium polarized shades at a price point well under $100. So you're saving a ton of money on a premium product that you're going to want to go out, do all your outside adventuring in, protecting your eyes. They got the blue blocking glasses as well. They've got so many different options for you. And it's a one-stop shop for all your sunglasses needs. ShadyRays.com. You can also check out their store up in Kierland Commons in Scottsdale. You can use the promo code PHNX there. Just tell your sales associate the deal, and they'll give you the deal. 2 or more pairs of premium polarized sunglasses. You get 50% off of those. Try out what 250,000 people went online and rated these 5 stars. Find out for yourself. ShadyRays.com. Use that promo code PHNX.
I'll give 5 stars to our friends at Desert Financial Credit Union, a sponsor of Behind the Numbers. Check them out now. Behind the Numbers for this game. Cardinals, of course, lose by 5. Passing game, just not there yet. They outrush Houston. In my opinion, they forced more turnovers. Penalties were a problem, obviously. Third down, a huge problem. But again, I don't even care about what Houston did offensively because it was irrelevant in the second half. It's all about what the Cardinals didn't do. 196, with or without Michael Wilson, gentlemen, not good enough. 2 turnovers, yeah. One of those was on a first possession. But the Cardinals defense got you 3 turnovers. They gave you the ball right back. I mean, under 200 yards passing in this day and age, when you've got Kyler Murray at quarterback, Brittan, that's going to lose you games. Unless you're running for about 250 on the ground and controlling the clock the whole game, you have to be able to throw the ball vertically.
Oh, agreed. And the number on the bottom of that was basically the name of the game today. The Cardinals were 3 of 10 on third down.
Real bad.
All right, 30% on third down is not going to cut it for you. And I mean, we used to have a graphic, and every Monday, BA's thing was we want to be 50% or better on third downs. Did we get it every time? No. But you could always tell at the end of the game what the problem was. All right, if you're at 30% on third downs, will not cut it. So, in the same way, throwing the ball downfield, we didn't complete the passes. Right? And that turned into why the third downs weren't there, but also it's what we were doing on first and second down that hurt it, right? Now you're in third and long, and you're forced to try to just huck it downfield. Right, and it's not always a great percentage throw, but what else can you do when you've got 19, 20 yards to go on third down?
If we put those numbers back up, you'll see that the Texans finished 9 for 13 on third down. So it's as bad as the Cardinals were. The Texans were on the opposite end of the spectrum there, but it could have been worse because they were 6 for 7 in the first half. Yeah. They were money in the bank. It felt like every third down in the first half. So that got better. What is that? 3 for 6. In the second half, they were doing a good job and getting themselves off the field. The Arizona Cardinals defense was. So, and also what's not on here, Arizona Cardinals defense in the red zone. That's where you can actually say, hey, I like these numbers.
Oh, great.
Pretty rock solid overall.
Rock solid with the super chats. You guys continue to crush it. Get this video to 300 likes for your boys here. Izzy Moses, 89, $2. Pass the bottle. I'm ready for April. Pass the 4 Peaks. Not a coincidence. We hold our draft party last year at 4 Peaks because the good vibes are flowing, optimism, and pumpkin porter. Sports Hero, $2. Thank you so much. Nothing but good things when Chris Barnes is on the field. I think Chris Barnes probably deserves some playing time over Josh Woods at this point.
Chris Barnes Stan in the chat.
Well. Yeah.
Well.
Oh, man, your cup's moving on its own here. Interesting. It's the ghost of Cliff Kingsbury coming back to haunt us here.
Poured some out.
Alex in the super chat, $4.99. The fact that we were in the situation to win to begin with, hats off to the secondary besides Marco. Hats off to everybody outside of the offensive coaching staff. And
defense did their job.
They were fantastic. It was literally, we talked about it. Like we said all week. We said something tells me Gannon's got something up his sleeve for this young quarterback. It took a half, but they made adjustments, man. They were exactly where they needed to be. They were in front of the football. They made him uncomfortable. Jalen Thompson, our player of the game, sacking him, picking him off. I mean, it was everything you needed. And the offense, you had your franchise quarterback. Everything was there for you, and you blew it at the end. And that's difficult. It's difficult for fans. It'd be more difficult if this team was vying for a playoff spot. You're trying to win the division. Then I probably have a tough time getting through this postgame, frankly. But because the season is what it is and your draft status is what it is, but I don't want to give credence to people that say Kyler's not the guy. Take a quarterback. You're in a position to take a quarterback. But right now they're 1-1 since Kyler Murray returned. They got 6 games left. You got to play better. Everybody's got to play better because we talked about it. The floor cannot be Joshua Dobbs-esque, and the ceiling can't be Josh Dobbs-esque. And we saw that last week, besides the numbers. He was better than Josh Dobbs. They had their most efficient passing game of the season. Kyler Murray's got a big game next weekend at State Farm Stadium.
For sure. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, and before we kind of get into I want to ask you both a question, but like AZ Moses 89 $2 super chat. BG always speaking fire. Let him know, BG. I believe that was during your rant
about the officials.
Yeah. And if you missed that, go back in this video and watch that, and also drop a like. But all right, so we've seen it, as you said, 1-1, and it's kind of different performances, right? One, he's a superhero, leads you all the way back, and then this game, he doesn't lead you back. Comes up short, Kyler Murray in the Arizona Cardinals offense. If this is how the rest of the season plays out, and Kyler Murray's putting you in a position at the end of games to go win football games, is that enough for you to know about the quarterback in that you're moving forward with him, or does he also have to finish the deal more often than not?
I think it is enough. But, Britton, I think the passing game has to evolve. It has to be better than it is today. If this passing game looks as, I don't want to say inept, but because Clayton Tune was inept. Uneven as it looks right now in, let's say, the end of December, if we're sitting here at BET MGM when they play the Chicago Bears on Christmas Eve and Kyler Murray offensively looks like this, then we got a big fucking problem. But if he looks like he's a better player, he's got about 7 yards per completion. If that's up there, 8.59 like it was last week, multiple touchdowns. Because at the end of the day, he's got more touchdowns than turnovers right now in his return. He's got 3 total touchdowns to 2 picks. I don't know if I'd put the Hollywood Brown pick on him today. Bigger receiver goes up and gets that football. To me, it's like what you always said. The optics have to be good. The wins hopefully come after the fact, but they're not everything.
No, and I agree. I think regardless of how it finishes, even if it's up, if Kyler Murray puts you in positions to win the football games, I think you're fine. Yeah. Now, yes, he needs to finish them more often than not.
Yeah.
He's your franchise quarterback, whether he's coming back from a knee injury or not. It's the reason he's back in the game is because you're confident he can go. And he's confident he can play. But from what we're seeing right now, I'm not bringing another quarterback in at this point. You want to see him finish games, yes. But as long as he's keeping you on the field and with opportunities to score at the end of the game, to win the game at the end of the game, I think that's enough right now. Whether you like what I'm saying or not in that chat, I don't care because I'm saying it and I believe it. So, but I think, yes, he's the guy. You're going to go forward with him. He's what you're going to move with because you're not getting anything out of bringing in a Caleb Williams. It's the exact, I said it last week, it's the exact same player. He's just taller and slower.
Yeah.
Right? Drake May's slower. Yeah. You're not going to get anything different out of bringing in a rookie quarterback into this situation.
I think we're all kind of feeling the same way about this. And I wanted to ask it, and I wanted to kind of get the chat's thoughts on it. But I think Kyler Murray's already in 2 games done what Joshua Dobbs or other quarterbacks struggled to even do, and that's keep the Cardinals in the game. Like there weren't opportunities. Like Joshua Dobbs beat the Dallas Cowboys. That was a team win. He was fantastic in it, right? Yeah. He was good against the Niners. He was good, in the first half against the Bengals. He was good, in the first half for the most part against the New York Giants. But for the bulk of his tenure here, the Cardinals weren't in games. Like, it looked a little bit better at the end of his tenure against the Baltimore Ravens where he got a couple garbage times touchdowns.
Yeah.
But Kyler Murray has the Cardinals in the game throughout, right? I mean, he put them in a position. They got right back in this thing. And they're also moving the offense enough to where they're around midfield. They're able to flip the field, and they're not in a compromising position to where I don't think the same could be said during Dobbs' tenure here. It certainly couldn't be said for a guy like Clayton Tune. So Kyler Murray is immediately showing, even when he falls short in a game like he did today, that he's putting this team in a position within striking distance of winning a football game. And that's really at the NFL level all you could say. Now, obviously, there's another gear to it, and I think he can get into it, and that's why we're disappointed today.
Yeah.
But that's more than you could say from the top 2 prospects in this draft coming up. I mean, like I said, they're 3-8 over their last 11 games. They're not elevating their team any more than Kyler Murray didn't elevate his team today.
No.
And he's got the contract in place. It's going to be cheaper than those guys in 4 years. And I just think that, he's the odds-on favorite for this organization and the smart move to move forward with.
Well, and I also feel like, listen, at the end of the day, Kyler Murray feels comfortable with this organization. They feel comfortable with him. Like that picture you posted of he and Jonathan Gannon after that long touchdown, like they're all in with each other. And I think it's naive to say, like, well, 2 games in, he shouldn't have any rust. He should look like a top 5 player. I think we've seen flashes of that. But he didn't have an offseason. He didn't have a training camp. He didn't have a preseason, right? He's been practicing for about 5 weeks with this team. This team that, by the way, this was a 1-8 team that he inherited. So, again, I think it's naive on maybe our part, my part, people's part to say, well, they should be much more efficient top to bottom. Like, no, this was a bad team that he took over.
He just didn't get it done today.
Right.
That's all. That's at the end of the day, that's what happened. Kyler Murray didn't get it done today. So, I mean, and I think people in the chat are hearing what we're saying, talking about he putting him in position to win. We're talking about going forward.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of this is probably going over a few of your heads because you're just trying to look for the bad parts of whatever happened. Right. Yeah. It's okay. You're a fan. You don't know the game that much. I'll give you that problem. But going forward is what we're saying. We're not saying he put him in a position to win the game today. No, I didn't say that. He dropped the ball. We've all said that multiple times today.
Yeah.
Right. So, stay in your place over there. Argue with your mama about stuff that you don't like and keep it moving.
We'll keep it moving with these super chats. You guys are fantastic. Hit that like button, picking spreads. $2, friend of the program. On a small bright spot, back a pick to Marvin Harrison Jr. range. I mean, like, it's exactly what they need. I don't know if it's going to work out, guys, with their draft standing. I still think they're going to win too many games. But right now, I mean, the number one need for this team might be defensive tackle, but he is he's the perfect complement, somebody like Michael Wilson. And I said to you off air, it just feels like with each kind of meh game from Hollywood Brown, one of these 2 early picks, maybe pick whatever 35 or whatever it is, needs to be a wide receiver, a big physical wide receiver to grow with Kyler Murray. Michael Wilson missed 2 out of 3 games. That's not great. Trey McBride's ascending, but it's like, who's 6'2" that can really get you manufactured yards after contact? Who's somebody that can go up and get the football for Kyler Murray? Hollywood Brown, I like him, but he is very much dependent on the ball being exactly placed at the right spot, right? If he's running downfield, you got to hit him in stride. The NFL game, it gets ugly at times, and he's not a player that can get ugly with it in the best possible way.
Yeah, I mean, you really do have to. They have to figure out a way to get him incorporated in the offense going forward. But I think a lot of what you said is true, to where things have to align perfectly for him to make plays for you, and that's unfortunate because I saw him earlier this year make a lot with very little from the quarterback position. Like he was making plays for this offense. I don't understand where it went. Brittan, I don't know if you could maybe shed some more light on that, but I just don't. Like on 3rd down, he was such a clutch player for them early on, and I don't know if it's just what NFL teams saw on tape, they were able to just make that adjustment and just completely take him out of the game, or what the deal is.
I mean, I think Johnny's correct. I think it comes down to you have to be able to go out there and make something happen.
Yeah.
Right? You're a number 1 receiver. When you look at all the number 1 receivers across the league, hell, even some of these number 2 receivers. But when you look at number 1 receivers, you got Devontae Adams, you have Keenan Allen, you've got guys like that. Mike Williams that's in San Diego as well when he's healthy. Mm-hmm. When that ball's in the air, they make a play on that ball. Hell, when Larry Fitzgerald was here, when the ball was in the air, you were 100% confident he was coming down with that football.
Yeah.
Right? Even if it was a bad throw behind low, somewhere he's not supposed to catch it, somehow he came down with that football every single time. And that is what you were missing in this offense right now. You are missing a go-to guy that hell, I made a bad throw behind, but I know that this guy can come down with that football. And that's what Larry was for this team for so many years. And that's what you don't have anymore right now.
Back to the super chats, $1.99 from Shane. If Gannon takes the easy threes in the end, it's a win. Again, hindsight, absolutely. And if he knew his defense was going to pitch a shutout, I think he'd be kicking away. But, man, the way this defense looked the Texans scored with like 20 seconds left at the end of the first half. Like, did anybody think this defense was going to stop anybody? No, Kyler Murray and company went into that second half. They didn't execute, but they thought pound for pound, shot for shot, we got to match CJ Stroud. Turns out that wasn't the case.
Yeah.
So it's like hindsight is, you take the points, but man, this team's got 2 wins, and we're in November. I'm all for it. Let Kyler Murray try to win you games with touchdowns.
I just don't know if he's going to be that guy that's going to take the points in this situation when you take all the variables into account, where they were, the down, the yardage, what you needed to get, the situation of the game, how your defense is playing. I don't think Gannon is ever going to be a guy that's like, all right, let's just go take the points there. Like, he's going to take it when it
makes sense.
Yeah, like the long field goal he got from Prater today, like in the long field goal he got last week in a win over the Falcons, where there's not much more for the offense to do, and they had their backs up against the wall for most of the drive. That points from a field goal would be a win, but at that point you really kind of felt like you were chasing, and you were going to continue to chase. But like with Kyler Murray coming back, playing in a new offense, Drew Petzing, Nick Rollis, Jonathan Gannon, like there's a lot of first timers here, and you're gonna have to take your lumps. And this is a learning experience. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he does, Casey. Maybe he does just decide, okay, let's. Casey's got the next super chat, but maybe he does take the points going forward. Maybe he's like, okay, maybe I can trust my defense a little bit more.
I can trust Casey with the super chat. $4.99. Isaiah Simmons. We sold our dead bird to the blind kid, P.D. Simmons.
Pretty bird.
I think Isaiah Simmons makes a play or two. We saw it in Arizona. He had a fumble return. He could do a pick six. But, like, is he a war daddy for, a JG term that can help you win each and every Sunday? No, he's a flash player. He's an NFL player. Nobody's disputing that. Was he worth the 8th overall pick? Fuck no. Like, we're just being frank. Like, I hope Isaiah Simmons goes and has success somewhere else. Like, the Cardinals could have had CeeDee Lamb. They could have had Tristan Wirfs, like foundational pieces, Pro Bowlers. Isaiah Simmons is like, yeah, I hit on my picks once in a while, but it's not something I want to make an income off of. That's what it's like. You want to make an income off of a pick that they had other options, and they picked the wrong one, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's your fantasy squad.
Yeah.
It's going to win, a game here and there. But consistently, is it going to produce? Probably not.
PR Mac, $5. Mac Daddy. Offense has no identity despite talk of being a run-first team. Connor needs 18-plus touches regardless of the outcome or the score.
Yep.
Yeah, Britton, you said that as much.
He's got James Conner right now in this offense, especially where they're at with no rhythm, especially what we saw today. He's got to touch the ball 25-plus times a game, whether it be screen passes that are added into that, but he's got to have the ball in his hands, because of the production that he puts out every week that he's on the football field. I mean, you're looking at, for the season, he's probably still averaging over 5 yards a carry if you put every game that he's played. So for what he does for your offense, he's got to be the main focus point right now of your offense, getting it going.
Gary King, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, Gary. We appreciate that. AZ Moses, 89, friend of the program, $5. Give me a wide receiver core of Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Greg Dortch. Dortch has proven every time he gets reps, he'll produce. He plays bigger than he is, and I can't wait for the Greg Dortch podcast this week.
Yeah, you got Rondell Moore under contract for another season. I mean, is that somebody that you could get anything of value in return for in the offseason? Because, Dortch continues to go out there, take advantage of opportunities. I got to imagine that if he's not a starting slot receiver here for the Arizona Cardinals, he could certainly go anywhere else and be a starting slot receiver in the NFL. No doubt about it. Guy just makes plays.
He's done it. I mean, he did it last year. He came in here and nobody knew who he was, and he turned into actually probably one of the best targets for Kyler Murray last season, and he showed it again today when he got opportunity.
I'm going to tell you right now, the Cardinals have a couple guys under 5'9". I mean, they're not going to trot this receiving core out next year. So this is an audition for everybody. Rondell Moore, Hollywood Brown, and Greg Dortch. And right now, Greg Dortch has been the best of the group. Like, if you ask me who was the best, I know Rondell had that one catch, but it's like a little bit like Isaiah Simmons. Is it a one-trick pony type of thing? Rondell Moore in the second round, not great. Rondell Moore in like the fifth round, you feel good about that. So this team right now, it's very touch and go. It's the evaluation period. JT Super Chat, $2. Kyler's contract makes him untradeable, so he is our QB1. Not necessarily.
No.
I think the Cardinals want it to work out with Kyler Murray, and I think inevitably it will. But days like today, again, doesn't help the matter.
Kyler Murray, after all these new deals, with the two per average annual salary, two top guys out right now, and Burrow and Watson, he's 7th as far as highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, he's not untradeable.
We've seen quarterback contracts with about the same percentage of the salary cap absorbed, dealt in Goff, who seemed like he was damaged goods at that point, but has helped turn around Detroit, and they were able to absorb that deal. We've seen guys like Carson Wentz. He's been traded not once but twice, right? So those are, if you wanted to get out from under them, you could trade him, and there's teams that would view Kyler Murray as a player that can come in and immediately help their problem at quarterback.
Yeah, there's too many vacancies right now for a franchise quarterback in the NFL to say Kyler's not tradable. You put Kyler on the trading block when it was there, there'd have probably been 8 to 10 teams that were chomping at the bit to get him in there coming off injury.
Especially in the QB-ridden NFC. Like, it's a dumpster fire for quarterbacks. We ranked the NFC quarterbacks just last week. Kyler Murray's already top 4 to 5 in that group easily. I'm going to tell you what's top 5, maybe top 1 in my book. It's our friends at FOCO. FOCO, the leading manufacturer of sports and entertainment merchandise with a product line's fantastic. Apparel, accessories, toys, love my toys, collectibles, novelty items, and more. It's the best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms. I've got a fire J.J. Watt bobblehead from them. I've got an overcoat that I can't wait to rep. Temperature's a little toast.
Overcoat, huh?
Yeah, it's a nice little overcoat.
Warm for that, big dog.
Yeah, I'm not going to rep it right now, but I'll rep it maybe this January on some post-game shows. FOCO's always got your back and Arizona sports back. Check them out. The best gear in the Valley for FOCO licensed merchandise at FOCO.com using the bonus code PHNX for all non-presale items. Check them out. 10% off. Again, PHNX, FOCO. They got polos, bags, straw hats, Aloha shirts, tons of cool shit. Check them out now.
Am I allowed to talk about the up next Friday? No, right?
I kind of talked about it this week on this show. Am I going to get in trouble?
Look, just become a diehard. You'll get access to all I want to talk about. Just go PHNX.com. Become a diehard today. We were lighting it up. Everybody was lighting it up in the Discord today.
Yeah.
It was an emotional roller coaster today in the Discord. We were talking Cards football all game long. Sure, we did it we did it halftime, we did a post-game show with all you great people here in the chat, but it continued in the Discord, and the only way you get access to that is becoming a diehard today of PHNX. Go PHNX.com. Also hit up the PHNX locker. I would say wait a couple days. Save yourself a ton of money on some great swag like that Greg Dortch t-shirt. You'd be repping that one proud all week long. Greg Dortch t-shirt, it's there in the PHNX locker.com. We got the NL Rookie of the Year t-shirt. That's fire that you want to get in there and get your hands on as well. All PHNXlocker.com. Go PHNX.com. You get full access by becoming a diehard today.
So Will Anderson Jr. had a nice day, had a sack, and they said it was against Paris Johnson Jr., rookie-on-rookie crime. Did you guys see that they gave B.J. Ojulari a sack in this game? So not only did Dante Stills have a sack, but according to the official box score at ESPN, Cardinals rookie B.J. Ojulari, who, by the way, helped on that fourth down stop early in the game, had a sack as well. Cardinals had 4 sacks in total. That gives B.J. Ojulari 4 sacks in his last 3 games. He and Dante Stills, man, we're a little concerned about the state of the cornerback room. That front seven's looking better by the week with these 2 young players.
No doubt about it. So did Tank Dell, how come he got credited as being sacked in this game? I don't understand how that happened.
They'll probably correct it, I'm sure. But
it makes no sense.
We're going to enjoy it right now.
Huh?
Give it to him.
Was it they were trying to get a
Oh, it was a pass.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so they had a sack on that.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Okay,
because he was a thrower.
So 4 sacks
for Ojulari
that the defense got, and I'm seeing 5 players credited. So one's got to come out. JT, I saw it with my own eyes. I saw Fotu's with my own eyes as well. Stills and Ojulari, I'm trying to remember.
I remember Stills and Ojulari. I remember that play.
Well, yeah, I just saw
Roy
somebody
Lopez.
in the chat when CJ Stroud tripped.
Okay.
That was Dante Stills. Dante Stills. Houston 3 sacks on Kyler Murray, but 7 quarterback hits.
So BJ 4 sacks. He keeps according to Agent 47, he's keeping pace ahead of Will Anderson Jr.
They were both good today. Like Will Anderson Jr. was really good.
Really damn good.
He was really good today. He looked like the 3rd overall pick. Cardinals, they got enough to be excited about. We're excited. Hit that like. Let's get this to 3. Final thoughts, 300 here on the post-game show. Final thoughts, Brittan, where do the Cardinals go from here this week? Is it as easy as turning the page as they go back to State Farm Stadium? They got a Rams team right now that looks very inept against Seattle, against a potentially 3-win Rams team. Do we want to say must win next week? How does that work with Kyler Murray and company?
I mean, you're going to treat it as a must win for sure, especially if you're in that building, right? As a player, as a coach, you want to win the game. I think you have to treat this as a just turn the page. Look, you're 2-9. Right, you're not going to the playoffs.
Yeah.
Regardless if you win out, you're probably not going to the playoffs. So it's over with. It's done. The offense didn't get it done. Kyler Murray didn't get it done this week. Okay, turn the page, move forward. We got the Rams next week. Let's game plan. Let's get the best game plan we've got ready to go. Put it on the field on Sunday, and let's have a better week than what we saw.
The Arizona Cardinals somehow, if they get a dub at State Farm Stadium next week, they have the same amount of wins at that point as the Rams. Rams probably go into this game with 3 wins, Cardinals with 2. If they can match a division opponent, something that nobody gave them a chance in hell of doing, that's one of those. I don't want to say moral victories, but it's a victory of some kind. And I think that, as we said, how they respond to today's loss is going to be very telling to how this organization is going to be moving forward, how Kyler Murray operates going forward. How does he knock the rust off in his 3rd week of the season, and how does he and Drew Petzing work together throughout the week of practice to rebound from a less than stellar performance?
Wrenches and Rants, $4.99 super chat. What we learned today: CJ is human. Wilson, failure. Petzing forgot how to call plays. Wow. Interesting. Marco Wilson's a failure. Well, he's been failing his teammates all year. I'll give you that. Jalen Blair, $5. Thank you for the super chat, by the way. $5. We are just fine where we were with Kyler. We could be the Chargers at 4-6 with a healthy QB all season with a loaded roster. Yeah, I mean, it's just, and a bad coach. Like, I'm impressed with Jonathan Gannon, man. Like, had this game turned into a blowout, like, I would have been really disappointed with JG today. I'm disappointed in Drew Petzing. But our defensive head coach pitched a shutout in the second half, got takeaways with no names, with respect to these players. Look at the personnel for the Cardinals defense, then go compare it to the Los Angeles Chargers. Like, I feel better about Jonathan Gannon these last 2 weeks than I had, and I already was confident in him, but this guy can fucking coach, man. Now he needs his quarterback to play a little bit better complementary football. We're going to be gearing up for this offseason. They have so much money, so much draft capital. But I do think, to your point, like, win next week. Yep. You got to take care of business. Kyler Murray needs to be Kyler Murray at State Farm Stadium. You got to build off of what you didn't do well this game, remedy it, fix it. Hopefully you get Michael Wilson, maybe Michael Carter's in the lineup next week, help you out on those 3rd downs, checking it down, but be better. Be more efficient. Because, again, like, we can all sing, the Kumbaya songs about the quarterback position. You want to talk about hindsight. Like, Kyler Murray, and we said as much, he cannot go into this 8-game stretch and lose, like, 7 of 8.
Right.
Or lose, 6 of 8. You got to come out with some dubs. And today was a winnable game. Maybe not a game that people expected you to win, but a winnable game nonetheless. I checked with our friends at BET MGM before this game even kicked off today. Cardinals are like a 2.5, 3-point dog against the Rams right now. Maybe that changes. Maybe it's a straight-up pick 'em for next week, but I like the Cardinals to bounce back at home. I really do.
Something to follow throughout the week is Michael Wilson's status. It was what Adam Schefter reported was he suffered a setback on Friday after practicing the entire week, and then he wasn't able to play. And we saw what that did to this receiving core. When we talked to Baldy on Tuesday, he really liked the timing that he had with McBride and with Wilson. And it's just like a starting pitching staff, right? Or just a staff in general, like where you can slot people in different spots. And the pressure's not on for a Rondell Moore to go play and be, a top flight starter, or a Greg Dortch or anybody else. Like, it sets up your lineup perfectly to where if you've got Michael Wilson in his usual Z position, and you got Holiday in his X, and then you got Rondell or Dortch in the slot, and then Trey McBride playing tight end, it just puts you in a far better position for success. Like, everybody's playing the role that they're meant to play instead of guys having to step up and play roles that they weren't expected to play.
Well, Michael Wilson brings you back to the big receiver.
Yeah.
The big physical guy that can go up and make a play on a ball in the air. That's honestly what you were missing today.
Yep.
Yes, the deep ball. The first deep ball to Hollywood that got intercepted, was it slightly underthrown? Yes, it was underthrown. Do you expect your number one receiver to find a way to go up and make a play on that football? The defensive back did over the top of him.
Yeah.
So
he got abused.
Right? Having Michael Wilson back in that lineup, I think, will add a little bit more of that factor of a person that's going to go up. He's going to try to attack the football and not let it come to him. And then adding with a Rondell Moore and a Greg Dortch in the slot. Honestly, Greg Dortch has got to get some more time on this offense.
Yeah.
Because he proved it last season. He's come in this week with literally hadn't had very many offensive snaps all season long and led you in receptions and yards. So
he has 74 yards today, 76 yards today. Rondell Moore's been starting the season every single game. I don't think he's outproduced that at all. Hasn't even sniffed it.
I like Ron. He's a one-trick pony. Rondell will give you a big play, but he's not somebody you can count on drive after drive.
Rondell's somebody that can play both. You can put him in the backfield. You can put him out in the slot. You can let him move around. And you got to almost use him as a Deebo Samuel type. I mean, he's not Deebo Samuel by any means, but you can use him in that aspect of the game as to where you can literally line up Greg Dortch and run the entire route tree.
Like this comment, just split out Trey McBride at times. I thought they got away from Trey McBride too much in the second half outside of the K1 misconversion on 4th down. We're going to be keeping you posted throughout the duration of today into this week. Thanksgiving holiday week, yet PHNX Cardinals, PHNX Sports doesn't miss a beat. Normal hours for this program beginning on Monday. What's Jonathan Gannon and company going to have to say after a tough road defeat by 5 points at the hands of the Houston Texans? In the meantime, find us wherever you get your podcasts, PHNX Cardinals. Subscribe, follow, leave a review today. In the meantime, let's get this video again. Over 300 likes. Let's see if Kyler Murray and company can bounce back. Check us out. Subscribe today. PHNX Sports here on YouTube just crossed 20,000 subscribers. Thanks to everybody who came out to the watch party. Thanks for everybody here at BET MGM. Fantastic service, fantastic food, fabulous vibes. We are back next week. Gila River Resorts and Casinos Wild Horse Pass for the home game. In the meantime, Brack, Brittan Golden. I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you on Monday.
We all silly like the mayor.